something.
Probably my beard. Fire break. Okay.
Sorry, it's my foot.
Evening, Tony. Hope all is well. Very cloudy here today. Disappointing 14 kilowatt still. Better than nothing. Got a few cold fronts heading our way from the Antarctic. A few tomorrow, but big one on Sunday. I think the worst day I've had, it was nearly pitch black all day, it was 5.5 kilowatt, I think. But it was just like, I was amazed I got that. Yeah, the cold weather's all right. We don't tend to get a lot of cold. At the moment, it is 17 degrees. Well, we've lived over east. We've lived in Richmond, New South Wales, Riverston, 6.6 kilowatt. I could put more on, but I mean, we're not paying for electricity at the moment, so. And I've been looking into batteries, but I would still like, you know, you're tempted to wait. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so much development going on. Yeah, so I'm not paying anything at the moment. Oh, you got 4.6. Well, that's good. You got storage. First few hours of the day, you can pump into that. $6.6. Yeah. You know, you could be tempted. My panels face northeast, so they get the sun as much as it gives me. Deliberately built the house that way. But it's not so much about, like I say, the storage is the key to breaking away completely. I mean, we've got 5 bedrooms in the house, plus a big 2 living areas. So, but it's like, it's not that we're frugal, we just don't use a lot. You know, like there's no air conditioners on, no heaters. The house is really well insulated. That's half the key. A good insulation. You know, we've got insulation between the double bricks. We've got sheep in the roof, as in lamb's wool. And it's never, I think you've felt cold a couple of times, haven't you?
Yeah.
This winter, but that's about all.
Yes, I have.
I think the secret is efficiency. Yeah, I think, like I say, I worked out probably 2 years ago, and it's probably more now, there are 28 different types of storage batteries available in Australia. That was 2 years ago. But I do know that they've actually got a lot of variants. In other words, you've got from about 2 kilowatt up to about 14, and then of course you can put them in parallel. And so you could have, if you want to do, 10 Tesla batteries, but it's the efficiency of your appliances, your insulation. Do you know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this. Hello, Patty. If you've got good appliances that don't draw as much as the old ones, LEDs, we've got LEDs everywhere, and they're bright. I mean, this light we've got on low at the back at the moment, when we put it on full, it's like I'm on stage. It's too bright. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if it's a Tesla 2, it's 13.5. But the good thing, most of that's dischargeable. It's, you know, the temptation to get one is there, and we can buy one, but the WA government's talking about a subsidy, and why would I buy one today if they're going to give me $4,000 off in a few months? So it's like, that's another reason. And we know we're in the lowest part of the year for solar. We know that. But we're not paying any electricity. So I know when we get back to our 15 hours of sunlight during summer, yeah, I won't be paying too much. So it's that cross temptation. Do I get a storage battery that cuts me completely out of electricity costs, or do I just roll along and pay for only 5 or 10% electricity? You know, the cost of the battery compared to paying $30 or $40 every couple of months. Sort of, you know, it's not persuasive to go for a battery when the payoff is not as good as utilising what I have. So, but the subsidy would change my mind. Instead of paying 12 or 10 grand for a good system for a battery, I only pay 7 or 8. Might be a different story. Hello, Scarlett. Yeah, I mean, I in the past used to have 3 systems, I told you, with solar. And one was just for backup. And that was something like 600 amp battery bank, which was enough to run my fridge and the basics, the lighting. I had separate lighting through the house we used to have. So, like I say, many times my neighbours would come over and say, how come you got power? So I'd show them. But you don't necessarily need a... I mean, I wouldn't. Jenny's a noisy bloody option, so it depends what sort of fridge you've got. And of course, if you just keep it closed during a power strike and you've got a system that can run it for about 3 or 4 days, and that, I know I got these 100 amp batteries for $80 each years ago. They're old Telstra exchange batteries, which are about 1.5 foot long by about 5 inches wide by about, I don't know, 12 inches high, quite a skinny sort of thing. But they were good. Telstra replaces them every 18 to 24 months, and they have a lifespan of 12 years. I don't know why they replace them. It's just the protocol. We should not supposed to buy them. It's supposed to be disposed. But you know, when you know people who know other people, you know, if you just want lighting and power to your main, it's really just your fridge. You know, you've got to be honest. If your fridge is running and you have lighting, yeah. I could even run the telly off my reserve power telly, even my big telly, and draws 100 watts. There's plenty of watts in 1 amp. I've also had a converter, an inverter to change solar power into 240, which I used to run my laptops off. So yeah, so we never did without lighting, but we had one power outage here with a huge storm that took our fence out, and that was for about 12 hours, but that was mainly daytime. 2-volt batteries, that look smaller. Yeah, or they might have it bumped up with voltage, 2 volt. You can do it with 12 volt, 6 volt, whatever you like, but they might have either a 24 or 48 volt system. I'm guaranteeing they've got minimum of 24 volt. 3 kilowatt panel system and batteries. Oh, they'd be probably on 48 volt then. Off my knowledge, probably run a 48 volt system with an inverter change. It's not that efficient, 12 volt. 3 kilowatt. You want to really run series and parallel with your batteries to take it up to at least 24 volt. Because you can get 24 volt inverters, you can get 48 volt inverters, but the 48, if you're in the bush, is the most proficient for sure. You still convert it back down to 240 volt for your appliances, but storage wise, it's better. Yeah, you don't need much. Like your fridges, you know, when the compressor kicks in on even a modern day fridge, it probably runs at about between 600 and 700 watts, but it only does it for a minute and a half, 2 minutes. You know what I mean, Tony? So yeah, it draws 600 watts an hour, but it's only running for 2 minutes, so it's drawing next to nothing. So running a fridge off solar is not a big deal. Just need a good inverter. And lighting is really simple. Again, I'm pretty sure they'd have separate solar lighting. In other words, they might have a couple of small batteries running around for LED strip lights are good. Your fridge, have you got a kilowatt meter? They're really good. It teaches people a lot about their appliances. And the way you build an off-grid system is to work backwards from your appliances to the power required. Oh, you can monitor, yeah. But you can buy a kilowatt meter. I don't even know where it is. I suppose you know where it is, do you? The kilowatt meter. I did see it the other day when we were unpacking.
It's in the shed.
Might be in the shed, yeah. I'll show Tony one night. You plug the kilowatt meter into the wall. You then plug your fridge, or whatever you like, into that. And what happens is it shows you, and you can record the draw over 12, 24 hours, or even just an hour. Yeah, no, having new appliances, they're usually more efficient, but the best way when you ever look for appliances is to turn the item over and see what the wattage that it uses. You don't need, like I say, to go back to caveman when you go into solar, but you certainly makes you think about what you use, how long you use it, all those things. At the moment the telly is running, because I just want to see how the footy match ends. There's a 10 watt light on in the lounge, and there are 10 watt lights out here. We're probably using about 150 watts an hour, which is not much. You can run that off an off-grid system very easily. Like I say, there's a subtle difference with incandescent. People say, nah, I'm not changing my globes. Well, they're using 6 times the power for the same light. Do you know what I mean? 10 watt is the same as the 60 watt old incandescent, and yet it only runs at 10 watts, not 60. It's the old consumption. An 80-inch TV net takes about 100 watt. Yeah, in the old days, even if you only had a 48 centimetre telly, it was something like 450 to 500 watts. Gas guzzlers, if you like. But, you know, they did have tubes in the old ones. Yeah, 500, yeah. But like I say, you work backwards. You look at your appliance, turn it over. If it's a kettle, make sure you empty the water out first and see what the wattage. It will always say, depending where you are on the planet, here in Australia, it'll say 220 to 240 volt at, 150, 400 watts, 600 watts. It'll tell you. People get confused when you say, let's say something runs at 1,000 watts an hour. Well, it will use 1,000 watts in 1 hour, but if you only turn it on, I'm talking like a microwave, for 2 minutes, well, it's a division of 2 minutes out of 60. Not much at all. Microwaves are used in off-grid settings. You generally put surge appliance, a surge meter, so it can build up slowly, so you don't have this boom, 1,000 watts. You know, it might go 2, 4, 6, 800, 1,000. But those that are off-grid would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's consumption. You work backwards from your appliances. You know exactly what each item uses. You can sit down and work out what you normally use. Like you might turn on an electric kettle, take 6 minutes, whatever. Depends how much water's in it. And that uses, say, 1,000 watts an hour. Well, you've only used 6 minutes. You know what I mean? It's 10%. So it's 100 watts to boil the water. That's what I mean. So then you can, if you really wanted to get the nitty gritty, you can say, well, what did I do this week? What appliances did I use? And if you know the wattage, well, you can actually work out what you draw. But there's only two main items in a home. The main item in Australia, of course, is air conditioners and fridges, freezers. With dodgy wiring and hot water system, I wouldn't like to live in a house with dodgy wiring and a hot water system. It's really easy. I mean, you can make it as complicated as you like, but keep it simple. They've probably got an old wood metal stove, might have a water jacket on it. But like I say, you don't have to live like a caveman if you've got solar. Yeah, I mean, to rewire a whole house, depends what sort of house it is. If you've got easy access, it's not that complicated. It's probably, if you did most of it yourself, I'm talking average 3-4 bedroom home, $4,000. And the simplicity of following wiring and that's already there makes it simple. I mean, some of the house designs that I've seen over the years have been really good. They actually run along parallel and they have two switches where they have a backup battery system and they use mains power. So when the mains fails, they just simply turn on their backup battery system, however it's charged, be solar or whatever, and you have a light switch that says 12 volt on one side, you have another light switch that says nothing, which means it's normal house wiring. So the 12 volt systems just take over. It's the same wiring, but a different access to the light. So I've seen two of those done over the years. It's 12 volt wiring's not cheap, by the way. You know, you can't just get away with speaker wire, as you're probably aware that someone does. Yeah, they have that, do they? Yeah, that's a good idea. You just want to be, if you're out in the bush, you just want to be able. If you're in the bush and it's hot, well, sometimes you just got to be more inventive about keeping cool. Yeah, the only danger in an old home is if the electricity system is shit. It's dangerous. You know, most of the house fires in Australia in old homes are just faulty wiring from age. That's it. But they're probably living a good lifestyle if they're out in the bush. They've probably got chooks, growing a bit of veg, pottering around, and having a pretty cheap electricity bill at the end of the month. Well, maybe you could build a granny flat, mate. Hey, the government's going to give you 50 grand. Go and spend 170. It'll only cost you 120. I say, Dad and Mum, Have I got a bargain for you? But you better be quick, Tony, because you've got to sign up by December 30th, I think. I don't think it's right myself. I'd like to see a lot of social housing built, get people off the street. But the government figures that everyone can dip their hand into the money, which I don't agree with. Geez, half an acre, that's good, mate. I got a quarter acre. Half acre, well, you can build another house, mate. Just make the rent reasonable for your parents. Get them to grow all the chooks and the veg. I used to have 3.5 acres. It's a lot of work, but I used to enjoy doing it. Used to make me money. I used to grow about 1.5 acres of whatever. I used to have a deal with the local fruit and veg guy. Say, what do you want me to grow? And one year he said passion fruit. I did that for a couple of years. Then he said watermelons. Whatever. I would just grow it, and then come harvest time, just pay people cash in hand, load up the trailer, take it down, get money. Probably made about $6,000 a year on 1.5 acres, which is not bad. I have my own water bore. I don't know where the regulars are. Maybe they're busy. What is it, Friday night here?
Yeah.
Oh, they're probably working. Probably a reason. I have to go to that Banara fresh food place one day. Not sure
Where
where it
is
is.
it?
Must be in Middleton or something. They sell boxes. Could make me tomato sauce out of old cheapo tomatoes at the end of next season. I like to grow tomatoes that we can eat, not make sauce out of. It's this electric car that was oh, a Porsche electric car. I don't think I'll be buying that. Bye, mate. Have a good one. Have a good weekend, Tony. Just with these prices, you could start a little home delivery fruit and veg thing. Cheap. 10
Well, it's
big
got
box of capsicum, $20.
say on the back there where it is.
It is in Morley.
Oh, Molly.
Mm.
I've never heard of it.
We could do that. There, get a little truck, turn it into a home delivered. We could do milk,
Yeah.
toilet paper. Granny Smith apples, 99 cents a kilo, which for our American friends is about 40 cents for 2.5 pounds.
Yeah.
Pink grapefruit, $2.99 a kilo. Mind you, one of them's about a kilo. Yeah, we could do that. Do a fruit and veg run.
Okay.
No?
No.
Why? All the old people we could help. Like cut all the watermelon up into quarters, wrap them up. Same with the pumpkin. Just do things in bags, really, eh?
Yeah.
$4 bag, $3 bag. Market direct spring onions, $1 a bunch. It's cheap. All right, John. Yeah, I don't know if anyone want to be in. Could you just turn the light up a little bit? Mystic Angels? Don't think she heard me. I'll show you some prices. Yep, better move the other phone or it'll fall off. This is like a wholesale warehouse where you go and buy. You could literally just half the price if you're in the US. See, our dollar's worth about 70, about half. So, but a kilo is 2.5 pounds. So Granny Smith's 2.5 pounds, about 50 cents. Pink Ladies, same. Pakenham pears, 50 cents for 2.5 pounds. Mandarin, 50 cents for 2.5 pounds. I don't know what the prices over there are like. Pink grapefruit, $1.50 for 2.5 pounds. Watermelon, 50 cents for 2.5 kilo. Navel oranges, well, that's not bad, 3 kilo. That's 7.5 pounds for about $2 US. Banana. What's this over here? Fresh broccoli. 2 for $3. It's not bad. Oh, Jap pumpkin. These are good prices. And of course, if you want to, you come down the bottom, they do like big boxes, about 10 kilos. All different stuff, green capsicum, red capsicum. So yeah. That's just one of, we grow a lot of food in Australia. That's why it's pretty cheap. You didn't hear me on the way and I asked if you turned the light on, but no, doesn't matter. All good. Done now. So what do you reckon? Run a fruit and veg for old people?
Yeah, if you want to.
So you'll be helping or I'll just be doing it?
Of course I'll help.
Old people.
Yeah.
Just enough to pay for itself and just a little bit on top. Good morning, VMAC. It's cold here, it's down to 17 degrees at night time. Don't know what we're going to do. Probably eat more chocolate. That'll build up the heat.
Right. Did you VMAX see what you showed?
I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure.
Did you see the fruit and veg page that Seed showed?
Give you an idea, VMAC. Your dollar is about the same as ours, and you have the same measurement, kilo. So I'll show you again if you didn't see it. 27 degrees, jumper weather. So this is like a warehouse where you can go and pick up your fruit. This is Granny Smith's, 99 cents. And our dollar's about the same. Canadian Oz dollar about the same. Pink Ladies, 99 cents a kilo. Pears, 99. Mandarin, 99 cents a kilo. Banana, $1.99 a kilo. Navel oranges, 3 kilo for $3.99. 99 cents a kilo for melon. They could be similar to prices to yours, I'm not sure. Fresh broccoli, 2 for $3. Jap pumpkin, nice pumpkin actually, good roasting pumpkin. 99 cents. Capsicum, $2.99. Sweet potato, $1.99. Crisp, this is all your type of food, VMAC. Fresh, crisp celery, 2 bunch for $4. They do sell a bit of meat too. 4 kilos or 10 pound of potatoes, $2.99. Whole fillet. Spring onions, 3 for $3. What else? Oh, you can buy boxes. These are 10 kilo boxes. Tomatoes, $10. Granny Smith's. That's probably 20 kilo, those Granny Smith.
I don't like Granny Smith apples. Not even in an apple pie, actually.
Well, where this warehouse gets all its produce is from local markets, gardens, so it doesn't travel that far, which is like my garden. We've been eating out of it and we travel about 30 feet.
So you're going to the beach today?
Yeah, should be down the beach, 27 degrees.
That's too cold.
There's a heat wave warning in Canada.
That's still too cold to swim.
Yeah, far too cold.
There's no game on our oval.
No, what I mean by travel is how far the food comes from. That's what I meant. Not how far you drive to go to the area, but we grow an enormous amount of fruit and veg in my state. But I'm like, we can go shopping anytime, 24/7. We can go to shops where there's no one there, virtually. One of the good ones is a place called Spudshed because they grow all their own food. So if there's a store, there's a farm within 20 kilometres. Heat wave warning for on 12. What's it going to get there? What's a heat wave temperature? Normally a heat wave here is considered 10 days over 100. And last summer, we had about 150 of those days. Relentless. You would have enjoyed the soup tonight without the lamb. I made a lamb, leek and vegetable soup, cream soup. So without the lamb, you'd have loved it. Tasted absolutely magnificent. They were high 30s, then humidity on top of that. They had a tomato touchdown. Oh, they had a tomato. Look out, there's a tomato falling. Look out. Hope they don't have a banana warning. It could be dangerous. Yes, I'm just playing with it, VMAC. I know you meant tornado. I read it with my old eyes as tomato. So a day at the beach. I don't know what you guys call a day at the beach. We'd normally get down there around about 8 o'clock in the morning. Set up a couple of little areas. Probably a pop-up tent, barbecue, cricket bat, soccer ball, footy. Probably have brunch. And around about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon as the sun going down. Probably have a feed, cook on a barbecue or something, and go home. That's sort of a day at the beach for Aussies. I spoke to a few English people and they said, yeah, a day at the beach. We go down about 1 o'clock and come home by 2. I'm thinking, that's not a day at the beach. Beach by 11. Well, that's when it's at its hottest, VMAC. You'll be able to wear that polka dot bikini. We had one of our granddaughters here today with her mum and her mother, and they come over, had a cuppa, and then I'd grown these little baby carrots just for this granddaughter. And she come over and went, and her mum said, come on, let's go and pick some. She picked one, was totally disinterested.
Yeah, she was actually.
I'm thinking, well, I did grow them for you, but
Maybe if her wife wasn't here.
maybe. See, we have a weird thing. I think I told you once before. We have a thing called the Lewin current in my state of West Australia, and it reverses itself. during the year. So during winter, we get all the tropical water pulled down. So it could be like tonight, 17 degrees minimum here, and the water will be 25. But in summer, the Lewin current comes from the Antarctic. So it can be 45 degrees Celsius, and the water can be 16. So that's weird. It's usually at this time of the year, the change from summer into winter, that the water is nearly the same temperature as the land. But it must be a good time of the year for you guys, because like I say, you don't get a lot of summer. I think your fall, roughly where you live, would be late July, early August, BMAC. Would that be about right? Late July, early August, autumn. She must be off making a coffee or something.
She can bring us one back.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Nice coffee. Hurricane season, but storm-free season. Yeah. I don't know. It's I do know through Europe they're having quite a hot spell. You see that photograph in Bournemouth in the UK, which is a famous seaside sort of area. Tens of thousands of people right next to each other. I mean, it's just stupid. There's one thing called ignorance, but the other thing is called stupid. Most of these people are aware of what's going on, so it can only be put down to stupidity. Have you got any sporting games starting up now? Like, you're allowed to attend them or not? Because in the first week of July, we've got lots of stadiums in Perth, but the big one's called Optus Stadium, holds 60,000 people. First week in July, there'll be 30,000 people there. I think ice hockey should be okay. What the players do here, I'm watching a footy game on TV now. What the players do here is they're tested the day before the game. One player last week showed a positive test. He wasn't allowed to play. However, 2 days later it showed negative. So it was a positive negative initial, but they're not taking any chances. So that player can't play, and then the other players are tested, and if they're clear, good, they can play. I think just the smart thing to do. I know it's different, and I know the games they play for between the US and Canada in the league. Just play a Canadian league. Do you know what I mean? May not be as exciting as beating the Yanks, but let's be honest. If you've got 4 or 6 Canadian teams, just play a season of them. Just do it for the year. Yeah, I know. I understand. That's what I'm saying. I do understand. But there are plenty of Canadians playing. Even if it's a different competition for this year, just have Canadians playing in Canada. That's my point. I know ownership, I know that, this, that. But if Canadians want to see ice hockey, just play Canadians in Canada in whatever format. I like saying, if sporting bodies want to play sport, they have to be adaptable at the moment. They've got to be resourceful, they've got to be resilient, and they've got to actually make something work. And travel between the US and Canada shouldn't be an option at the moment. So you've got to do with what you got the best of. Canadians will still watch ice hockey, even if it's a weird season. I did read somewhere one of the biggest sports for over 50s in Canada is lawn bowls, and of course there's the other game. What's that played on ice? Where they go down on one and let go of the big bit of stone. What's that called?
Bowls?
No, it's not called bowls.
I don't know.
No, I understand, but it's unlikely, VMAC, that there is going to be a competition, particularly because of the current problem within the US. I'm sure Justin Trudeau is not going to say, yeah, let the teams come. No, that won't happen. And I do understand that's how it works around the world. We've got, I think in the English Premier League soccer, we've got something like 120 Australians playing there. So that's how sport is done these days. The best players get the best money playing for the best clubs. But if you want to watch something this year, I don't think it's going to be a normal season by any means, but even a fun season of ice hockey is better than no season. We've already done that in Australia. We've got 18 teams, and 8 of them are in Queensland at the moment, playing 4 weeks of sport, footy, and then they all go down to different states. We're getting 2 Victorian teams come to Western Australia next month. They stay here in a hub for 4 weeks. So it's a procrastinated season, but it's a season still. And the reason why people want to come to Western Australia is that they can have crowds at the game. In other parts of Australia, it's not permissible at the moment. I mean, I know if you played sport, I'd rather play in front of at least 30,000 people, which we'll easily provide here. And that's better for the game. Because playing games without crowds, the atmosphere is not the same, obviously. And Australia and New Zealand won the rights to host the 2023 Women's World Cup Soccer. It was a good thing. We love our sport in Australia, no matter what it is. But it's not just going to be this year, I think, BMAC. I think if we're fortunate, within 2 years, things may be better, vaccines, etc., or better treatments. But not for the next couple of years. So even though people are disappointed about this season all around the world to do with sport, it will still be up and down for a couple of years. So that's why they've got to be adaptable. They've got to be, like I say, resourceful. Where was the outbreak in Australia where they sent the troops? They sent troops to help a city, but not like in what you're thinking. This was bushfires. We don't send troops in. We don't. We've had 103 deaths in Australia, VMAC. That's it. So there's been no troops on the streets guarding anything. Nothing's being robbed. There are no riots, and people are back at work because we took it seriously. No, there's no military going anywhere. There's a few hubs in Melbourne. Melbourne's a big city. In the northern and eastern part of Melbourne, there's a lot of ethnics, and I don't mean that in a bad way. There's like Lebanese and Middle Eastern, and they have a culture where they hug and they shake hands and kiss all the time. Well, that's led to an outbreak, as in 30 yesterday. So,
maybe that's what she's talking about.
but no, there is no military involved with that.
Being a bit strict there.
Some Middle Eastern cultures will just ignore the guidelines and the rules. Like they will hug and kiss and shake hands and gather in large numbers, and that's what they do culture-wise. 100 troops per cent to Victoria. Not that I'm aware of. I've no idea why they'd send 100. 1,000?
We'll
Never heard of that.
check up on the news later.
Now, the outbreak in Melbourne has been something like, I think, 80 or 90 people in a week. And it's all based around the ethnicity of how they live their lives. You know, trying to tell them that you shouldn't hug and you shouldn't shake hands and certainly shouldn't kiss during the pandemic. And obviously some are ignorant of it and some are just belligerent. It's my culture, that's what I do. Okay. Go bury Grandma next week. No, there is no armed guard on the streets.
Did you see it somewhere on the news, VMAC or something? We'll go have a look.
Yeah, just click on the link.
Yeah. Okay, I got it, VMAC. You can take it out of the room.
The only thing I would imagine what there is, they're setting up check-in points, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. That's what it looks like they're doing. I was having a quick read.
They're certainly not there to hold people accountable for anything like rioting or anything like that. But we did that during the bushfire. There was something like 10,000 Australian troops, Navy, Air Force and Army Reserve that went to the bushfire areas and set up medical camps with respirators and all that sort of thing. Because lost a few people in the bushfires to smoke inhalation, which was terrible.
Yeah, they've sent them there to do a mass testing. They're helping because they've got another outbreak.
And it's all ethnicity.
Yeah, they're going all over the hot spots of Melbourne, which is quite a few, VMAC. And they're helping with the testing, is what I'm reading from this article. And yeah, I suppose you just never know what can happen. Some of those all groups in Melbourne or in any state can get quite hostile if they aren't allowed to do things.
You mark my words, VMAC, in hindsight, everything's easier, but I would have, straight away, whoever was possible, in other words, medically, fit enough to at least go home to the children or relatives for the period of this pandemic with visiting nursing and doctor staff to people's homes. That's a far better system than just leaving me in a bloody nursing home where one person gets it, then 50 people get it.
I think it's raining.
Most of our deaths in Australia come from foreigners on cruise ships, and I think it's something like 30 people in Australia died in nursing homes.
Yep, it's raining.
So most of our deaths have just come from overseas.
It just seems like this in Victoria seems worse than the first outbreak. I think they just can't test enough.
I mean,
that's why they're sending out the...
Yeah, but the
army to
obvious
help.
one is that they just celebrated the end of Ramadan, and it was Eid, which is the gathering of families. So that is probably the catalyst for what happened in Melbourne.
And then the big protest.
I haven't kept up to date with the mortality in Canada in regards to the virus. I mean, hopefully it's low. Most Canadians are pretty smart like Aussies. 103 Australians is still too many, but they weren't all Australian. Like I say, there were cruise ship visitors, Americans on cruise ships here died. Lots of people from the Middle East. I'm pretty sure Canada's mortality rate is nothing like the US. Welcome back, Tony.
Oh, better give him a star.
Yeah, I just read that article. It's got down the bottom. Hugging and kissing as a cultural reference. Yep, that'd be one way to transmit the disease. Had to have a shower, you felt unclean. Out damn spot.
Well, yours going low is his alarm clock, see?
Mostly in the nursing home, the Army's reports were a damning statement of how we treated. Yeah, I would have just got them out. Look, those who couldn't be taken out of a nursing home, okay, leave them there. But there's a large percentage of people that are in a nursing home for general care. Would have been very easy to organise 3 or 4 doctors and a dozen nurses to go around and visit the ones that used to be in their nursing home and care for them and do what they need to do in other people's homes, kids, relatives. They would have been far more protected. Being exposed in a nursing home as a really old person, you have no chance at all. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest, as you get older, there are ailments that certainly make you very vulnerable even for the common flu, let alone a nasty virus. I don't know what the death toll in the US. The last I saw last week was 120,000. And that just staggers me. It's just a staggering amount of people. Well, I do know here, VMAC, what happened in quite a few large country nursing homes, with 100 patients, is that there's a bit of an agreement between staff, and what they did was they got in something like a dozen mobile homes, and they were doing 12-hour shifts, and people were sharing those mobile homes on the site of the nursing home. In other words, they didn't leave and come back each day. Those didn't get any COVID. And I thought that was brilliant. It was a great sacrifice, obviously, because might have been a mum of 3 kids with a husband, and she's saying, well, I'm here for 3 or 4 months, and that's what they did. And they didn't lose any. The highest rate of infection that I read from Johns Hopkins University, in the last 2 months, the people that are contracting the disease more than anyone else are 15 to 30-year-olds. And of course, they may not be as greatly affected, though some have died, but those people go and see granddad and grandmum. That's a worry. I just don't get how some countries don't see their mortality rate as a problem. It's putting a very low value on human life. All right, when you do get the opportunity to go to the beach, you have a great day, VMAC. Hope you enjoy it.
Have a good day.
Don't get sunburnt. I mean, it is going to reach 27. I wouldn't get sunburnt there because I'd have my jumper on.
Yeah, me too.
What do you have for dinner tonight, Tony? I picked up a couple of bargains, couple of really big rump steaks, half price, down to about $7 or $8 each. I vacuumed and packed them when I got home. From the IGA, spaghetti and meatballs. I'll show them. This, we had one of our granddaughters come around. This is her younger sibling. Now, these are the baby carrots that I grew. The younger sibling said, I'll have a crack at that. But not her older sister. No, I don't want them. Spaghettis and meatballs from IGA. So you tell me you did a microwave job, mate. You come here, I'll give you a feed of spaghetti and meatballs. Who won that game? I can't see the scores.
Giant 66, Collingwood at 64.
Huh. Another Collingwood loss. Bachelor chat. Yeah, I suppose if you're working. Come and home. Anything to fill the belly. We had tonight homemade lamb, leek and vegetable creamed soup. Yum. Chunky soup. Yeah, it was good.
Em's chef friend made them fish and chips. Homemade fish and chips at Em's house for them tonight. That's nice of him.
Not really that complicated, is it? Just batter
Look,
it.
no, it is complicated. I can't make fish and chips homemade.
I can.
Yeah, you can. Gotta have the right batter and stuff. And fish. I'm gonna go play me game.
Yes, we might tootle off Friday night.
Oh, spaghetti meatballs from IGA. Oh, what, they cooked it
Yeah, look, we got an IG around the corner there.
And it's not
that has a
bad.
Bay and Marie full of bits and pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, still at her mum's. Yeah, that's all right. Mums and daughters, good to get together every now and then. It's also strange though, like when you're home by yourself, time seems to drag. You think, I'm missing something. Oh, that's right, I'm missing my missus and the kids.
It's just you and TR.
It's Friday night at Abbott's Place. TR's on the 80-inch screen TV. He's mumbling and he's dribbling crap. I better grab another beer. Oh dear. Oh dear. Have you thought about taking up heroin as an option, Tony? Just an idea.
Don't tell him that. Well, I shall say good night to you, Tony, and to all the lurkers.
Yep. At least with that one, Tony, we know, like in Star Wars, the stupid is strong with this one. So there's Petal saying au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au
Enjoy your
revoir.
TR.
Oh dear. Have a good one, mate. And if you've got spaghetti and meatballs from IGA, there's probably a little bit left over for breakfast. A couple bits of toast, chuck her on top. Sounds like you got a whole weekend planned. Have a good weekend, mate, if I don't see you. And enjoy whatever you're doing, except that thing you're watching. Can't you just watch porn? All right. Laters.